Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ramblings of a Chaotic Mind. And boy, is my mind full. So let's get on to the rambling. This could be a long episode, a long stream. What a chaotic world we live in, one that is full of division and people that feel lost in a society that seems no longer to care. It seems no one has the answers or the solutions anymore. And the ones that do feel they don't have a voice or are afraid that if they speak up, they will be called a racist, a fascist, a bigot, among other things. I will discuss these and whatever else may come out of this chaotic madness in my mind tonight. Some of the topics definitely I want to touch on. Disrupt J20, because it does help for, what more chaotic event than that. Earlier this week, they've been exposed how they're going to cause mayhem and various other acts. I mean, personally, everybody has a right to protest, rights to freedom of speech. I'm a big supporter of those things. But I'm a supporter of it being done in a peaceful manner, not disrupting the people's work. And most importantly, it needs to be a good cause. And a cause that's not fueled and fed with illusions, lies, and deceit. When a lot of their big endorsers have been people like George Soros and other foundations like such, that's not a protest message. That's a message of hate. Regardless of your views on Trump, he was elected. And by all means, we got to hold the man accountable for the promises he's brought and made. But he has proved one thing: he does listen to the public. He listens to the audience. We don't know how he's going to be. We do know, a person can't be anything or do anything if you don't give them a chance. But when you start going out there saying that you're going to try to shut down transits, people who paid lots of money to go there, to visit, to see history, you are not doing anything but bringing more harm to peaceful protesters for causes that are important, that are needed. Your actions on Friday will reverberate to every protest community, not just your own. And if you go in there causing mayhem, chaos, disruptions, picking fights, then you're in truth violating our very constitutional rights of free speech. Your input is in danger. And from the stuff I've read, stuff I've seen, viewed, watched, that's what they want. And most of you guys are out there going to go here because you think you're going to make history, or you're going to get your 5 minutes of fame. Well, let me tell you, it's going to be a 5 minutes of shame, because your message, if it has to do with violence, shutting down transits, affecting the working people that's going to have their stores open for business, it makes what you guys are trying to preach and protest a mockery. It makes you hypocritical. I mean, let's face it. There's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. I'm all for the right way. I'm all for peaceful protest. I'm also for, when the time calls for it, other means. This event doesn't call for other means. We haven't had an event that called for other means since the Civil Rights Movement, since the Vietnam War days. We don't live in those times. Yes, we live in times that are chaotic, that are unknown how the future is going to play out. And it's just not here in our country. We see it all over the world. We first started seeing it with the Brexit movement. There's so much division in this world, and that is the real issue at hand. We cannot accomplish anything when we're divided. And this division has come from all angles, all walks of life. But mainly it was caused by mainstream media and puppets pulling your strings, shoving lies and illusions down your face and throat, clouding your mind so you can't see the truth. That's what it came down to. They wanted this country and nation divided. The last 8 years, we've seen racism be an issue where it hasn't been an issue for many years. And I'm not saying that there's no such thing as racism, and it's not an issue, because there is in certain areas. But it's gotten bigger. You know, when I watched them do the hearing on our next attorney, who's supposed to be our next attorney general. And I watched the NAACP ask questions, state their remarks. And the NAACP plays an important role in our society. They always have. But even they have gotten so far away from the norm. You know, I wish that when they were interviewing those people, the one question they would have asked would have been about what happened in Chicago. If they would have called that a act of racism and hate, that was a hate crime. To deny that as a hate crime says a lot. Because the other question following that would have been, what if it was this 4 white people did that to a mental health issued child that was black? They would have been screaming racism, white hatred, everything. They would be screaming for get the rope and lynch that white motherfucker. And that's the truth. But since it was 4 blacks and a white, person, it's not racism. Get over it. You know, that's that's just moronic thinking, and common sense tells you what it is. Shit like that does happen on both sides. Racism should not be an issue as big as it is now. You guys have let our so-called president preach and jack this racism issue up to where it's a common thing now. When the real issue is the government hasn't done shit for the black communities. All they've done is make the situation worse. If any real racism has been going on, it's happened under Obama's administration, the people that you guys elected into office. Real change does need to take place. You know, in my opinion, if Obama failed anywhere, he failed the city of Chicago where he's from. He failed to bring better education system, better jobs into those communities that need it. And in those communities, there's not black people. There's white, Hispanics, Asian. But without better education and jobs, they're not getting anywhere. That's where the real issue needs to be focused, not on skin color. Because in the end, we all bleed the same. So what does color have to do with it? Nothing. Now, I was watching, and yes, guys, for those that want to keep up with the protests and stuff, Inauguration Day events, check out Be Rich, iCitizen News on YouTube. They'll be live streaming. They were live streaming tonight from D.C. Protesters were already protesting from the metro station. And kudos to the protesters. It was peaceful. Demonstrations like that should be supported. I mean, they weren't what I called causing chaos, mayhem, or disrupting. They were peacefully protesting. Although I don't agree with what they were protesting about. You're saying KKK's fascism, fascists. Well, for those that represent the Democratic Party, we all know who founded the KKK. It was the Democratic Party. And guess what? The Democratic Party elected a black person, so shows that they may even change. But what would that do? That caused members of the KKK to switch their allegiance to someone else. Does that make the Republican Party racist? No. One person's views does not speak for the whole. Just like the Democratic Party. They've gotten away from those views and ideologies. You know, if they can get away from those views and ideologies, we all need to. No matter what color your skin is. I don't support hate or racism. It has no place. But the part that bothers me when you start hearing members of Disrupt J20 and leaked recorded evidence of what they were planning, that disturbs me. Because what it does in the whole grand scheme of things, if you were to do that during the inauguration, you would cause martial law. Any violent thing that happens there could cause martial law. And that is what our government wants. It's what they've been pushing and feeding down our throats for the last 4, 5, 6 years. They've been staging these events. I mean, come on. How many people are still paying attention to that at Nepal, the Apple, the Indian tribe, the water protectors. What the fuck, you got fucking missile launchers set on fucking U.S. soil? Since when did we become a third world country that we have to have a missile launcher system on Native American land to protect an oil rig who in a court of law had been told to stop drilling? And yet they're trying to pass a law where it's okay to run protesters over? Do you guys see what this is leading to? All they want is chaos. They want people to act up, screw up, and give them a reason. Are you going to be the ones that give them that reason? That's my fear with what's happening with this J20 and plans for the inauguration. Because if we keep at this pace, keep threatening to do these things, what's this going to mean for our future protesters? I mean, other than they're going to want to shut it down and stop us, take away what little freedoms we still have left. Our Constitution slowly diminishing, slowly been stripping away. Yet we want to listen to our so-called Hollywood stars, musicians. They're going out there egging it on. Well, you should ask yourself this: how much are they getting paid to play with your minds and manipulate you? Do they even believe in what you guys are going to be protesting about? Truthfully, I doubt they give a damn. After all, they don't care about what goes in their pocket. No, everyone has a role to play. Everyone has free choice, free will. But yet you can't have free will when you allow yourself to be deceived and lied to. When you start believing in false ideas and illusions. When you don't even know exactly what you're fighting for. What you should be fighting for is uniting everyone. Not calling some other racist, bigot, or a fascist that has different views. Learn from those views. Make those views better. We live in a society where we're supposed to be free thinkers and have a free mind. But yet you guys act like you don't. Many of us, and all of us, have learned the real truth that the so-called media is nothing more than fake news. They've been lying to you for decades. But yet you call the ones that have been saying that insane psychos, crazy, but yet their ideas and values and morals, and the fact that they haven't allowed themselves to be brainwashed says a lot, because they've been saying it, they've seen it. I mean, I remember 9/11, I'm sure everyone does. Where were you at? What did you think? You know what I seen afterwards? I seen how great this country is. How we came together. We were united. How do we fall so far away from that? I remember back then, it wasn't about racism. It was just about healing, love, and of course, getting revenge. But one great catastrophe showed how great this nation is, showed what kind of people we were. Firefighters from around the United States going to New York to volunteer, putting their lives on the line for people they did not know. And we've gotten so far away from that. We've gotten to a point that we quit caring for each other. We rather find each other's faults and flaws and publicize them. We've lost the ability to give somebody a chance. And who knows, one day that person may be you and you may be the one wanting a chance, but yet you couldn't give somebody else a chance. Why should we give you a chance? We'll be the new chant. See, I don't believe in karma. I believe cause and effect. For every action, there's going to be a reaction, whether it be equal or not. Life isn't easy, guys. But it's what we make of it. It's our actions. What we do to make a difference. So if you guys want to go out there and cause mayhem, disrupt, for a message that you guys don't even know what is really about, other than what you've been hand-fed from the lives of social media, or the promise of a paycheck, you know what got me even the most? This shows me how selfish and despicable you guys really are. Talking about using the homeless. You know, a lot of those homeless in D.C. are vets. Was one of the most disrespectful, unmoral things I heard come out of those reports. How you want to set up and use the homeless as your shields. Offer them food, but yet use them as a shield to further your disruption and lock down streets and block things off. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. What you should be doing is going to where they're at and offering them food there, if they're so important to you. But yet you want to use them as shields, use them as tools. You guys make me sick just even thinking of it. Of course, then again, most of you guys have never been homeless. I think you guys have a lot to learn about life. I think you guys have forgotten what it's like to be free thinkers. Because if you truly were free thinkers, you would not support what you were fed. I mean, let's look at the world we live in today. We have an administration that turned their backs on Israel. And it says a lot when the two countries didn't even show up for the meeting in Europe. But yet they want to claim it's the most important meeting ever. You know what those two countries want? Everybody to stay out of their business. One, they'll never have peace until Palestine recognizes Israel as an independent state. They realize that Israel exists. Same principle. Palestine will never have peace until Israel realizes that You can't keep calling them your enemy if you want peace. You can't be taking territories that don't by force. It's a two-way street. Until those ideas are met, there'll never be peace. Both sides teach hate to the next generations, when they should be teaching peace and how to achieve peace. And if we look at the Middle East, look at all the chaos that's going on there, you know, the world is a scary place, but yet there's still beauty to be found in it. If you look, and if you're not so brainwashed and clouded, you can still find beauty in this world. You know, we have bigger issues like our own to be focused on. We shouldn't be focusing on the others in the world. Let them focus on their own issues. That's the problem with the world today. Everybody wants to put their nose in other people's business where it don't belong. The whole issue in Syria wouldn't be so bad if the United States didn't stick their nose in it. Same way with Iraq, we stuck our nose into it. And the truth on that's been out. Osama bin Laden was never in Iraq. If I fault George Bush for anything, it's continuing to finish what his daddy started. Our soldiers had bin Laden in a cave and were ordered to stand down. That is documented fact, guys. It was never about Osama bin Laden. It was about finishing daddy's work. I mean, in the end, yes, he got what he deserved and what had come to him. But what did we all start cause from that? Look at what the terrorism has become today. Flooding our countries with migrants and immigrants that only believe in one thing, hate. You know, history has shown us this. They've done it in the past. And in the past, we had to have great crusades to push them back. So we keep repeating history on that note. Maybe it's time we just step aside and let them do what they want over there and protect our own borders. And that's the other thing I got wrong up, Race. Well, we don't have an immigration. Yeah, we do. We got hundreds of thousands of people coming across the border illegally. There's laws put into place. There's a right way to come into this country and there's a wrong way. And once you come in this country the wrong way, you should not be granted asylum. Why? You violated our laws. Simple fact. States it right there in the law. But if you come here legally for work with work permits, visas, the proper way, or you seek asylum from your country to one of our embassies, that's the right way to do it. We've got so much drugs coming across our borders, it's not funny. Heroin's at its all-time low to be purchased. Why? Because it's just coming across rampant. What happens when you get an overbulk of something? Where you got more supply than demand, prices go down. So they can push their demand. But then again, big pharma helped there. Got everybody addicted to the opiates. You know, here, you need this prescription drug, but it turned out to be highly addictive. I've seen more people get locked up for being on opiates than any other drug. I remember when the laws were so stiff, you wouldn't even dream of touching heroin because it carried a life sentence per gram. We've gotten away from those laws. We wanted to punish all those that were smoking weed or having weed in their possession. We overflowed our prisons with that. People that did not deserve to be in there and doing the sentences that they were doing. But why is that? Well, prisons is an industry. It generates money for every new person it gets. They get paid by the state. Once a person gets a number, it's very hard to get out of the system. It's a revolving door. It's meant to keep you in and entrapped and enslaved. Much like the Obamacare has become. It's a tax. So you file income tax, you lose your job. I'm going to give you a good example. My case in point. I was living in North Carolina for almost 2 years. Started working. Filed income tax last year. Events came up, and I had to move back to a house. Now I no longer have a job. But yet, because I filed income tax last year, I have to have insurance now. Now that I can't afford insurance because I am not working, I'm looking at a $695 fine or more. And that's just for this year when I file. Next year when I can't file, because unless I get a job between now and then, which should have a job by then, which means I'll have the insurance by then, it's not going to be a worry. But now they want to fine me because I'm not working and I can't afford to pay the insurance cost. Let's talk about a taxation without representation. You know, that $695 fine could help me pay for insurance, but no, it don't go towards that. It goes to somebody's pocket. And how is that just cause? You see what we allowed them to pass? The biggest deception on Obamacare. You can't see the bill until you pass it. Everyone that passed that bill should have never been re-elected into their position. Because that should have told you right then and there was stuff illegal. The Supreme Court even has said that certain sections they had found was to be unconstitutional. In their own words, written on the documents, even to this day, you can look it up. They found and quoted sections of it to be unconstitutional, but because it was considered a tax, they could not hear on it. That's how they tricked you into Obamacare. Everybody wants to bitch because they're getting rid of it. Well, good, they should get rid of it. It's the most illegal thing ever placed on us. I had full agree everybody should have the right to health care. But now we got premiums through the roof. You know, this still tails in to disrupt J20 because that's something they should be protesting. You know, one senator had an idea, make Obamacare like Medicare. There's a solution, but nobody wanted to listen to him. Nobody wanted to hear his ideas. Well, you hear the Democrats, well, you guys showed us nothing, no evidence. You haven't got enough. But yet, lady had a whole stack of stuff right there. Here, look, take a copy, read it. There's our plans. But the Dems didn't want to read it because they want to protect what they've passed. But they don't. And then they wanted to keep quoting every time somebody said something from another state, how much your state was going to be in debt if you got rid of Obamacare. How many people can't afford the premiums right now? How many people's got to choose whether to get their prescription medicine or be able to go see a doctor or put food on their table? The day when we got to choose to put food over our table, over our health, there's something wrong. But yet you guys don't care. Or the ones that do speak out, and you get called a bigot. But yet you see the flaws. You had the man that created the websites for the Obamacare stuff call all the American people all idiots. Oh, how we seem to forget those things. There's many good parts of Obamacare that should be kept, but there's a lot that needs to be gotten rid of. And that is actually how we learn from things. We take the good, we keep it, we get rid of the bad. We add new things till we get a system that works. It is trial and error. Problem is, most of our congressmen, how many people have stocks and bonds in big pharma? You know, most people talk about, well, there's jobs out there. Well, I just happen to live in an area where almost all our factories have been shipped overseas, including in Bryan, Ohio, the one company that was, I guarantee everyone knows, because I bet you everyone had a Etch-a-Sketch when they were growing up. That's right, Ohio Art. Anything made by Ohio Art, such as Mortel, whatever it was, toys and stuff. Back in 2000, early 2000s, they shipped it overseas to open up their plant. Thousands of workers unemployed. And it wasn't just that. A lot of the town's major industries, factories, all got shipped either over to Mexico. Why? It was cheaper to make it there, or cheaper to make it in China. I did a discussion about minimum wage and showed you how raising a minimum wage is great in theory, but that's all it is, a theory. That's proven that will not work because there's no sanctions, laws that stop the corporate sector from raising the prices to match the raise of the minimum wage. So therefore, that $3.95 gallon of milk becomes $7.95 to match the raise of your minimum wage. See, the corporate sector doesn't want you guys to be able to afford anything. Why? Because they know if you want something, you're going to do whatever it takes to get it and buy it. You're going to sacrifice. It's their way of still keeping you poor. They don't want more people rich. Why? Why? Because once you start being able to get money like that, you have more say, more control. And they don't want you to have control or say. They want you as slaves. They don't want you to be able to be free thinkers and think for yourself. Thinking for yourself is bad. Why? Because free thinkers can see through the illusions. They're awake enough to see the truth and realities and know when somebody's feeding them a bunch of bullshit. But so many of you like running around like brainwashed cattle with brainwashed minds just set before the slaughter. You let people pull your strings, tell you, oh, you need to disrupt, cause mayhem, chaos, do this. Why? Do you guys even know why you're protesting what you're protesting? Have you any of you guys did research? And I mean real research. I mean fact-checking, just not one source, multiple sources. You ever followed the money trail from where the money comes from that supports some of these causes? I tell you what, when you do, and you start researching the people that are funding these things, I guarantee you wouldn't be supporting that cause. And my message to the people that are going there to enjoy the event, to see history, do not allow yourselves to be provoked into an incident. That's what they want. Go there and enjoy yourself. Ignore the chaos around you. Don't take stickers from anybody, guys. I mean, happening in Cleveland at the DMC, people were putting stickers on people that were laced with LSD. Those who don't know what LSD is, since we seem to live in an age of snowflakes, it's acid. And I hate using that term, guys, but You guys are a bunch of snowflakes. And it's not your fault. It's the fault of everyone for not paying attention to what our education system has been teaching our kids. But then again, I don't fault them either, our parents either. Why? Because we're forced to work so many hours to be able to put food on the table, put you through college, make sure you can get into a decent school, have clothes to wear, that we work double the hours we normally would work. Both parents now have to work in the household, and they're still not making by, still struggling to put food on their table. So we don't have time to interact with our kids and watch what you guys are being taught. You guys aren't being taught real history that quit being taught in school since back in the 90s. Half of you guys don't even know how your legislation and executive branches work and run. And I guarantee you don't know the real history. I mean, when they omitted from the history books that the Boston Tea Party ever happened. But that's Common Core for you guys. No, that's not Common Core. That's brainwashing at its finest. That's dumbing down the society and turning you into sheep and cattle. That's taking your free will and ability to free think away from you and making you slaves. We live in such a diversity where we put labels on everything. And the biggest label we live by is a class. Poor, middle class, upper class, rich, elite. And they're all puppets and slaves to their societies that they live in. We live by fear. Somebody comes up, speaks out against these things, well, they're either quickly put down or their name is dragged through the mud with lies that, well, it came from social media, so it's got to be true. They don't lie to us. But yet, many of them have been caught on record stating, we don't want to report what the government tells us to report. You know, that's why I've always hated politics. Why? In order to be a politician, you need to be a liar. In order to be a politician, you must be rich. In order to be a politician, you must be a puppet master, be able to pull the strings of others around you. But yet, you're nothing more than a puppet yourself because your strings are being pulled. Organizations that support your campaign always want something in return. You know, it seems that all anybody thinks of these days is how bad it is. And it is bad. I mean, like I said, goddamn, we got a missile launcher on a fucking hill on U.S. soil. Why? Because we got a bunch of angry Indians who want to protect their water. Well, I'd be angry too if you're trying to pollute my water. I'd be angry too if you shot me with rubber bullets and tear gas almost every day. And by the way, guys, it's still happening. Just the other day, on Monday, Revolutionary Z, live streamed. They're protesting there every day and every night. It's getting constantly still being harassed by the police. You know, my issue with that is, well, the police should be doing their job. Shouldn't be going after the protesters. They should be going after Those people that still got their oil shit on the property when they were told and ordered by a court not to drill anymore. But their answer to that is put a fucking missile launcher? I mean, give me a fucking break. I'm for those of you that don't believe me, let me show you. I shouldn't have just... Be a little share. Backwater Bridge, guys. This was live at 18 minutes ago. We still have Constantine wire barricades, police with water cannons and assault guns, rubber bullets, and tear gas. Fencing. This is the America we live in today. Doesn't this remind you of some third world country? And you want to go protest an inauguration? Kind of sickening and shameful, wouldn't you think? What's going on in our own country? Where the oil company would much rather drill and pay the $5,000 fucking fine a day for drilling. I mean, look at that. That's the shit you see in third world countries or in a prison. I'll just keep sharing. I'm going to my page. I mean, we shouldn't be seeing shit like that. Give me a second. Right there. National Guard deploys missile launcher to Dakota Access Pipeline to observe. Let me blow this up for you. I mean, for real? And mind you, since this native land they're on, they cannot possess their own guns or firearms because of a treaty they signed. So anybody that comes there to protest with them cannot bring their firearms. So why the fuck do you need a goddamn missile launcher? You see the problem here? And you guys want to go disrupt it. All you at Disrupt J20, you guys want to go disrupt an inauguration? We got this shit going on in our own backyard. Shows me what kind of fucking hypocrites, brainwashed sheep you guys really are. I'm going to stop sharing so I go to this page. But yeah, his name's Revolutionary Z. He's been doing a lot of live streams. He was in Ferguson for all that. Back when they were doing the protest the Wall Street stuff, he was part of that. He's got on YouTube, Twitter. Like I said, you guys don't see this in the mainstream news. I mean, look at that Humvee, missile launcher, all up on a hill. And this is a sacred hill, guys, to the Indians. This is the world we live in now, where people would rather go protest an inauguration and let shit like this continue to happen. I mean, as you could see, I probably lost the feed. I didn't share it. Yeah, I did. I had to go to this page, but as you can see, there's no such thing as peace in our country. We get caught up and misdirected. That's their favorite tactic. Give us something so big and so juicy that'll distract us, send us down a rabbit hole looking to investigate something to where we completely miss what's really going on. So, what's really going on? That everybody wants to protest the inauguration. What are they doing behind your backs? Well, they're putting missile launchers on native land to protect an oil company. And then when we're all so distracted, they're passing executive laws that screw the hell out of us without anybody knowing because we're so distracted. What was a big distraction during the election? Oh, the Podesta file. They gave us Pizzagate. And the sad part of all that, and I dare any of you, go look at the missing go on the website, look up missing children for last year. Look at some of the states where they're missing. Because to deny the fact that human trafficking doesn't go on here in the United States is a very dangerous subject. I know here, I live in Ohio. In Toledo, I know there's been, at least every year, there's 3 or 4 cases where they bust massage parlors and find human trafficking. And here's the thing. What made Pizzagate so dangerous? It kind of revealed those things. But they wanted to quickly throw it under the rug, cover it up. Here's one. Oh, yeah. Brian of iCitizen News did a report and actually investigated it. How they said they debunked it. They called it fake. It wasn't true. Well, do you guys know that the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department never investigated it? He did a Freedom of Information Act request, and that was their reply. We did not do an investigation into this matter. No investigation was ever done. But yet they said all they did was back other sources who never did a real investigation. To this day, there's never been a real investigation into those emails. There's been plenty of it on YouTube, except for people just get caught up in the symbology of things and not the real story. The real story is fact. There is human trafficking going on. Fact that our missing children numbers have increased, not decreased. In some states, the number is so staggering it'll blow your fucking mind. Next fact. The only people who can afford that shit is the rich. And the elite. And only true sick fucks that want to go so far in debt just to do it. but yet we want to focus on Disrupt J20 and the inauguration. We want to sweep things under the rug. We want to let people like Snopes dictate what's real and what's false. You guys should investigate them. You want to know the real truth. When part of the people that's going to dictate what's truth is part of an escort service or former escort, but yet she still got posted up to this day. Yeah. The fact is, as you can see, they're trying to find ways to strip us of our freedoms, our way to communicate with each other and bring each other the truth. Because of the Pizzagate thing, people started listening to mainstream media, what little was leaked, started finding stuff, pointing stuff up, and what happened. And this was the first thing I said when it came out. Man, it's just too shiny. Watch, somebody's going to take this, and they're going to blame it all on the alternative media people and find a way to censor them and shut them down. And sure enough, something happened. Because everybody got caught up in all the little tidbits that were fed to them and took it in completely different ways instead of actually searching for the real answers, doing real investigation. Sometimes if something is a little too good to be true, it probably is. The best lies are told with a little bit of truth. Those little white lies are told with just a sampling of truth. When I look at the world today, I got family that's in Brazil. My sister's in Brazil right now. She just had surgery. Why? Because she couldn't afford to have surgery here in the United States. Why? Because she's not working, doesn't have a job, and can't afford to pay for insurance when you're not working. So she had to rely on our family down there to help her out and pay for her surgery. Which she's fine. She just had it yesterday. It was nothing major. But the fact is, you got to go to another country. I remember when it used to be people from Brazil would come here to get their surgeries done. Now most Americans are trying to get even their prescription medicines from Canada. Why? It's cheaper. That's what Obamacare's done to our fucking system. It made everything so goddamn expensive. You can't afford to go in the hospital. You can't even afford to pay for your premiums and deductibles at the beginning of the year. Doesn't that make you just a bit sick? I remember growing up, used to be, proud to be an American, born in the USA. Not so much anymore. And I come from two proud families. Family in Brazil, proud. Family here in the United States, proud. Both with proud heritages. You know why I'm a big supporter of rights and the Constitution? Because you can find my last name on that goddamn Constitution. It means something to me. To watch people like Disrupt J20 make a mockery of it. And that's what you guys are doing. You're making a mockery of something. Because you don't have all the facts. You haven't done your research. You're a bunch of snowflakes wanting 5 minutes of fame. Well, we have real issues going on that should be protested. And what you're going to do, you're going to go over there and screw things up. I mean, you already got caught. Your own people that organize this, they already got caught planning illegal stuff that is basically can be charged for as active terrorism in the United States. You can be tried as a terrorist if you do any of those stupid things they tried to tell you to do. What's that tell you? That's not a protest. You should be over fucking protesting a Dakota pipeline with them having a missile launcher on fucking U.S. soil. Not protesting a new president who hasn't even had a chance to do something wrong. And half of you think Obama was your savior? Yeah, if anything, he was an antichrist. Brought was more a racial divide and made our country so divided, and where most veterans will say they regret ever serving, where half the Americans no longer consider themselves proud to be born in the U.S. That's what the last 8 years have brought us. And the truth is, can we say it's going to get any better? No. Because we haven't given the man a chance. And in the end, he might not be your conventional politician, but he ran for office as a politician. And thus far, the only thing the politicians have proved is that they never do what they promise. The only thing we can do is hope that they do. But in order to do that, we still got to give them a chance. And by disrupting, as you guys put it, communities, businesses, transportation, you guys don't realize the consequence. You guys can't see it. You can't see the fact is that's what they want you to do. Why? If you do it, and it gets so out of hand they can declare martial law and make this a police state, which I hate using that word because we could have never seen the idea of it, how any of us would ever allow that to happen. Well, you guys are definitely making me out to be a liar there. Because what they want, that's what they did at the North Dakota pipeline. They want to put missile launchers all over each state for every time one of us decides that we believe in a constitution that no longer exists because a bunch of idiots allowed themselves to be played like puppets. I mean, fuck, you got a Rosie O'Donnell saying they need to declare martial law. I mean, what has that fat bitch done? Nothing. When was the last show, broadcast, movie she was in? Oh, that's right. She wants attention. Her pockets must be getting light, or she got paid to say it. You got all these wannabe musicians who've forgotten the true art of music, the true art of the musicians in the 60s that brought music that meant something when it came to protest. Their actions were through their words and music, not through violence. And the day that you guys want to jump on white people, say they have white privilege, the fuck is that? I don't have no more privilege than the next person. In fact, I got less. Why? Because I'm not middle class. I'm poor. But there's one thing that sets me apart. I have a free mind, free will. You can shackle me, imprison me all you like, but you cannot take my freedom, because my mind is my freedom. My mind is my weapon. And so are my words. So therefore I can never truly be enslaved. Nor will I allow someone to misguide me and try to put strings on me. I've seen the worst of the worst and the best of the best. But I've learned at times to be silent when it's needed. But believe me, those days are long past. So why should I let others dictate what I should and shouldn't do? Why should I support causes that aren't really causes at all? But I tell you what, I'll support the ones that are true. Just like I'll support the people that bring truth. Whether I agree with their philosophy, views, and ideas, if they're bringing the truth, I'm open-minded enough to put their egos aside and listen. I'm open-minded enough to put my religious beliefs aside and not judge them for their own as they judge me. Because to me, here's my list of things that cause the most division. The number one thing, religion. I'm sure you guys have heard my spiel on this, but I'll say it again. All religion is, the word itself is meant and a means to control you by fear and hate. If you do not believe in what I believe, you're going to hell. Or some other place, who knows? So many different religions out there. If you do not follow my dogma, you're not. Therefore, you're evil. Everything comes out of your mouth is a lie. False. Any religion that preaches hate, division, is not a religion. It's good to have faith in things, but don't become the bigot and the hypocrite. You're supposed to be free. That's why the Catholic Church, back in the 16th century, 13th century, whenever, derived the words pagan, heathen, and heretic. What do they mean? Free thinkers. Free thinkers oppose the whole notion, the idea of religion. Why? Because they can see that, well, if your religion believes this, but yet this religion don't, and yet you want to call them equal, how do we know? We will not know until the day we die who's right or wrong, so we should give up on that notion. How many wars of soldiers? Well, I'm fighting gods. God's on my side. Yep. Your enemy's saying the same damn thing. You see the point here, guys? It's good to have faith. Faith strengthens you, gives you something, gives you purpose, meaning, and something strong to stand on. Religion does not. Religion divides you, puts you in chains, and makes you a slave. Number 2 on my list, politics. As we've seen this year, the biggest cause of division, next to religion, has been politics. And we all know that 90% of the time, actually 98% of the time, everything they spew during election time is lies and broken promises and half-truths. Doesn't matter which side, they all do it. We end up voting for the one that tells the best lies. But this year, this election season, there's something different happened. It caused such a divide against everybody. Why? Because you just had somebody come about who wasn't your typical politician, who spoke like a common person and spoke his mind. Whether you agreed with him or not, he made things interesting. He also heated things up. But then you had the Wicked Witch of the West, or East actually, since that's where she's from. Anybody ever researched the history there? Well, you should. But I don't need to say any more than Benghazi. Or, shit, who's dumb enough to have a private server that's unprotected? I mean, truthfully, our home, most of the people who are listening or watching this, we have better home security than she had on her private email server. And you wanted to elect that dumb bitch? I'm sorry, anybody that disrespects our service members should never be voted for in the first place. She would have never had the respect of the military. And she was all for that NDAA bill. And she was all for the TPP until election time came. Let's remember, there back early 2009, 2010, somewhere in there, how they were trying to label everybody. You know, our vets to this day, when they get out of service, are put on the watch list because of their training. Is that how we respect and treat our military people when they retire? After serving our country, protecting our freedoms and rights, whether we agree with what they're doing or not? Yeah. You know, and there are a lot of people said, well, there was just nobody to vote for. Well, yeah, that's the problem with politics. That's why it divides so much, because only the rich can afford to run. It's not like it used to be where a common person could just throw their hat in a race and have a chance. And we got a Supreme Court to thank for that. When they said corporate America, the laws don't apply to them on how much they can donate. Here's what law should be in place. No corporate sector could ever donate any money. Why? Because that's outside countries influencing our election. You know, they want to make a big deal of the hacking and stuff, how they influence our election. No. Other countries influence our elections by pouring big money to sponsor their candidates. And that's illegal. Our Supreme Court failed us. And the one man that actually stood up and said this died and no autopsy was given. That should raise red flags, because any politician and any type of death An autopsy is required. It's mandatory, especially at the highest levels. And that goes for those of the Jewish faith. If you guys know anything about that, it's taboo to embalm or to open the corpse. It's disrespectful against their religious beliefs. But those laws don't apply to them if they're in those types of positions of power. So that should tell you something. He also came out and said that they would go after alternative media and try to shut them down and censor them. Why? Because a lot of people are reporting the truths they don't want you to hear. Why? Because if you heard the truths and you actually started listening and awakening and realizing the things that's been going on, shit like Disrupt J20 wouldn't be as so powerful as it is right now. You know, I was actually hoping to be able to blow that off, come after inauguration and go show how big of a scam it was. They were just after money, because if you went to their website or in their donation section, if you weren't paying attention, you'd realize once you swiped your credit card, you're going to get charged either every month, every 3 months, or once a year. It wasn't a one-time donation, which is a scam. But turns out I might have been wrong on that, which I am glad I did not report on that. But I'm still hopeful that maybe come Friday, people will wake up and realize, after some of their organization already got busted. But then again, how big was that reported in the mainstream media that everybody seems to be so still hooked on? CNN got caught in how many lies this year? Washington Post had to retract how many statements they've made? If you see the point, guys, quit believing everything you hear. Fact check stuff. Double check. I don't care if you think your source is concrete. Triple check that source. And don't be afraid to view other sources that contradict the source. Then you come up with your own opinion, not what's dictated. Free your minds. Quit being fucking puppets. Quit supporting dumb causes when we have a just and righteous cause at the North Dakota pipeline when they put a goddamn missile launcher out there. Yeah, that don't set well with me at all. And it shouldn't set well with anyone who knows our laws and regulations. You know, there's a reason why our servicemen can't have arms on the bases or even in the recruitment office, because no military personnel are to have arms while on U.S. soil. It's right there in our laws. But yet we've gotten so distracted and so far away from that shit with Jade Helm, how they were doing, practicing, and they justified it in the fight against terrorism. So what happens is you start seeing it happen more and more. People become accustomed to it and forget about the laws that are in place. Why? Well, we need this to fight terrorism. You know, I'm kind of 50-50 on that. Part of me can agree, yeah, we do. But a part of me says, well, there's plenty of desert and desolate area where you can practice that shit. We do war games every year, several times a year, in other countries. I think they get enough practice. And they don't need live rounds or live machine guns to do it when they're here on the U.S. soil. But they do need to practice, and they do need to be aware of things, because the fact is, we've proven time and time again, when it comes to urban warfare, we suck. And that's mainly because we believe in rules, laws, and we seem to frown on casualties. When the fact is, if you're at war, there will be casualties of war. That's part of where people die. It's the ugliest truth of them all. And I'm sure that offends some people that are against it, but hey, facts are facts. You know, with the technology we have these days, yeah, it gets better until you put yourself in an urban environment where you can't control the environment, where you're at its whims, where people can be used as shields. It's not a fair fight, but yet we have to abide by certain laws set by NATO, UN, Geneva Conventions. You know, one thing that's proved throughout history is those that partake in guerrilla warfare usually win. Same with urban environments. Those who can fight urban environments, they're virtually unstoppable, short of leveling the city like we did Japan. And none of us want to see that ever happen again. I think we all learned our lesson with that. But yet we keep allowing people to feed us lies, misdirect us, misguide us. You know. So yes, the world we live in today is a very chaotic, scary place. But it's only because we're allowing it to be. We're not picking the right battles to protest. We're not picking the right agendas to back. We're allowing everyone else to use us like tools and puppets and treat us like slaves. You know how you fight social media? Turn it off. Go find channels on YouTube that are reporting the truth. Support your local newspaper, or better yet, start your own. Become an independent journalist. And start investigating. See how quickly your view on things change. Start fighting against Common Core. Start demanding your school system start teaching real history, not this crap that omits shit because it puts a stain on what America is. No, that history is what made America what it is. And for them to take it out diminishes it. It's saying that what our forefathers fought for, what the Constitution stands for, what the Bill of Rights stands for, has no meaning by taking that history out. That's why we have a snowflake generation. That's why we have people falling for stupid causes like Disrupt J20 when there's real serious causes. That's why we have people still doing dumb investigations into Pizzagate, and they completely missed the real truth. That there is something there. There is human sex trafficking, pedophilia rings here in the United States. And the fact is, only the rich can afford it. But yet they rather find some creep pedophile that is minor league. Then there's no such thing as minor league when dealing with this anyway. It's all sick. And they all deserve to be punished and locked up for the rest of their life. But at least it's not the rich falling. And you need to stop blaming other religions because their symbology is being used when you know jack about their religion and their beliefs and ideas. Because if you did, you'd have a different view on things. And don't be scared to call radical Islam for what it is. I know a few people that practice Islam, and I tell you what, they condemn the radical Islam. They came to the United States to flee that persecution. They believe in our way. And they're proud to call themselves Americans. But yet, we put them in the same category with the bad eggs, the bad apples. See, that's what makes religion dangerous. We're so quick to blame one group when, truthfully, let's look at Christianity. How many different facets, dominations are there? But yet, when you go look at the encyclopedia only lists 3 religions. It doesn't divide them into groups. So every Christian that calls himself a Baptist or whatever, that's not Catholicism, guess what? The Catholic Church considers you heathens, heretics, and pagans. You're not a Christian to them. So why would you treat those that are considered pagans like they're evil and dirty? So after all, the real history shows, why would our forefathers come to this country? To flee religious persecution from the church. And from there, Christianity devolved into something grand, if you ask me. But yet at the same time, they're no better than the Catholic Church, the way they preach their hate for other people's ideas and beliefs and views. Like I said, religion is nothing more than a tool to enslave and force you to live by fear. Should we fear God? Yeah, most definitely. Why? Well, because we don't know God. Never will until we die. You know, I got one belief, and this is where everybody probably get pissed off and tune out. There's many names, many aspects of God. They're all the one true God. There is no religious belief that is right or wrong. The only thing that makes it wrong if it teaches you to live in fear and hate someone for their own religious beliefs. That is called dogma. That's not what the scriptures preach. When you come across dogma in the scriptures, guess what? That ain't part of the scriptures. That's part of the so-called religion forcing you to fear them if you break away from the congregation. No one's perfect in this world. Get that notion out of your thought. We all have our faults, our flaws, but that's what makes us unique. What makes us sad is when we fall for these illusions and lies and believe in them. When we allow ourselves to be divided when we should be united. We should be enjoying life. We should be preaching peace, not hate. We should be demanding better of our school systems. We should be demanding that our jobs be brought back. And when we have somebody that says they're going to bring them back, hold them accountable, make them accountable for those actions. You know, I wrote a poem about 3 or 4 years ago, but it seems to apply so much to this time and age we're living in. It's called Hypocrite. All I hear and see is bigotry and lies, corporate adulterers selling their very own souls, promising a future that is filled with illusions, hiding behind a two-way mirror and claiming to be full of morality, twisting words that they do not even know the meaning of. What the fuck ever happened to freedom of speech and the right to express oneself? When did corporate greed become the new way of life? Slowly taking control of what is free and not even physical material. When does society become so blind? Are you truly going to be the lamb before the slaughter, or the freak laboratory experiment with brainwashed minds? Wake the fuck up. Look before you and see what lies have been spread, all in the name of change, since with the change come with so many fucking strings attached. God damn, I feel like a fucking puppet on a string, swaying to all the lies and half-truths. Whatever happened to killing a person with truth and kindness? I played the mime for long enough. Now it's time to drop a dime and watch all the greedy hypocrites make my rhyme. For now's the time, they will soon be mine. I am not your lackey or some puppet on a string. I see through your lies and all your bigotry. 1,000 times have my songs been sung, claiming each as a soulless victim blinded by their own so-called morality. I am the true puppet master. I control your destiny with the edge of my blade, and you will reap all that you have sown. For this is my decree and my true will. I will see you in hell, where I will dine and feast upon your pain, never more to be the victim of your lies and hypocritical ways. And how true does that poem ring, considering I wrote that back in '09, maybe 2010? But yet it seems to be so appropriate for this day of age. And let me tell you something that has been true throughout ages. The pen is mightier than the sword, and so are our words, and that is the blade at which I wield. My words and my pen, or my keyboard, in this modern day of age. You know, we all have a voice, but we fail to use it. Because when we use it, people want to call us hypocrites, want to call us racist, fascist, bigots. That's the biggest hypocrisy of them all. Because nothing hurts more than the truth that we've been lied to, all in the name of greed. And you want to know what the worst part of that is? The ones that are so greedy are just mere puppets themselves. They're having their strings pulled by yet another group. We need to break away from the idea of racism, class, and labels. One, I hear Black Lives Matter, but yet their biggest sponsor and money through controversy comes from a Nazi racist bigot. Wow. Did I just say that? Go look it up. It's fact. George Soros sponsored so many events in the name of Black Lives Matter, dumped millions into that organization, and he much rather see them purged from this world. Do your research on him. Because the truth is, yes, Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. Quit putting class and race into something when the truth is every single human being life has meaning, has value. Quit forgetting your history. Quit disrespecting those that fought, bled, so you could be free to do these things, or at least semi-free. We are the maker of our own demises. And that's usually because we believe something that is a half-truth. Everybody wants to demand equality. We should all be equal. Women's rights matter. They should have equal pay in the work system when they're doing the same type of work as a man. And I tell you what, sometimes the work that women do, whether they be secretary, they just have they're better gifted for it than a man can do it. But yet they should be treated as equals with the same pay. You see, that's something else that causes division. You guys allow yourselves to get caught up and tricked so many times, when in truth, you'd probably do better being a mime and keep him silent. Why? Because a mime sees the world for what it is. They're pulling their own strings. Think about that one. Think about a mime, how he just stands there out in the open, oblivious to everyone. Whether he be standing still or performing, he's on a stage and the world's before him. He doesn't miss a single action that takes place in the crowd. He sees the beauty and the hate, but yet he doesn't speak. His performance is what speaks. And it speaks truths that we cannot see. So let us be the mind for a bit and actually watch with open eyes. And learn to listen to that inner voice inside you. Then you can start really becoming free. We're all gifted in our own ways. But don't let those gifts go to waste. Don't get caught up in the idiosyncrasy of hate, labels, because those are just meant to ensnare you and make you slaves to a system that does not care about you being a human. Doesn't want to see you as equals. Quit listening to those that continue to preach these things. Free yourselves, free your minds. Start supporting causes that are real, not orchestrated. Start supporting those things that are stripping your freedoms away. Quit listening to so-called Hollywood and what we can now call musicians. Because they don't care. All they care about is what goes into their wallet. And remember this, everyone has an agenda. Make sure that agenda is a good one and not one filled and riddled with lies and half-truths. Make sure that agenda benefits all, not just one. These are the things you can do to stop the division. The first thing you can do to stop division is realizing that we are divided and that our actions are causing us to be more divided and with the potential of stripping more freedoms away from us. These are the things I want you to focus on before the inauguration, because honestly, I have a feeling this year is going to be a chaotic one. I have a feeling we may see wars. We may see many things. I do not see many good things coming this year unless we change, unless we open our eyes and learn to unite, and we learn to turn people off that are spreading lies, and we start holding people accountable for those lies. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I rambled on for a while on various things, but hey, it's ramblings of a chaotic mind for you. Who knows what'll come to mind, and I'm going to say it when it does. I just hope you guys can understand some of the chaos. Because in truth, I'm going to give you a little truth. Without chaos, there cannot be growth. We need obstacles. We need stumbling blocks, because it's what promotes growth. It's what promotes ideas, new goals. We got tricked into a notion that our life's got to be balanced. We got to have balance. Oh, only thing balance equals is stagnation, guys. So it's good to have chaos. It's good to have a chaotic mind. It's good to let your mind roam. It's good to question ideas of thought, question morals, question views. Why? What is a question? Question causes chaos because you question something that you're told is right, which you may find is wrong. Therefore, it causes an opposition within oneself. What's that cause? It causes you to strive to learn more about it. Study, research. It causes you to free yourself from anything that binds you. This is what the ramblings of the chaotic mind is for. It's my way of releasing the chaos that's inside my head. It's my way of freely speaking the thoughts that I would normally not freely speak. Why? Because if I did, I'd be censored. I'd get banned off Facebook. I use it as a learning tool for myself and for others. It's just a bunch of ideas, philosophies, thoughts projected out there for all of you to comment as you like. One thing you'll never see me do. Well, I'm not going to say I won't do. If you threaten anyone on my pages, you preach hate on my pages, I will remove the comment. All ideas, views, ideologies, thoughts, wisdoms are welcome. I encourage you, post your comments. I'll answer. I got plenty of time. I'm not working right now. And even when I do work, I will find the time to answer because we learn from each other. Just don't preach hate. Don't disrespect other people's views and ideas and beliefs because you don't understand them or know them. I give you a place where you can speak freely, question my comments, question my thoughts, agree with them, disagree with them. So I put myself on the stage as I stand at the world before you. Be careful when you judge, though. You might not like what comes back because I don't pull punches. and I will speak my mind, at least on this channel, in this topic. So I hope you guys enjoyed. You guys have a good night. For those that are going to the inauguration, be safe. For those that are maybe listening from the Dakota pipelines, my hearts and prayers are with you guys. That is a just cause in my book, and one that needs our attention and not forgotten. I mean, I'll say it again. Goddamn, they put a fucking missile launcher out there. What the fuck? Have we become a third world country? I'm beginning to think so. Because that's the shit you see in third world countries. Putting missile launchers on a fucking hill to protect an oil company from unarmed civilians and Indian Native Americans who want to protect their water, who want a court decision to have their water protected, mind you. So yeah, Disrupt J20, you guys are a joke. We have real issues and real concerns. And for those that take offense, I hope you do. Maybe you'll think about it, and you start thinking about that they put a fucking missile launcher, and you guys want to protest our inauguration instead of protesting that. Go back to my poem. What the fuck? Wake up, guys. Peace out. Good night.